Welcome back to another episode of the Outdoors Greatest Podcast. I'm so excited for this one. Me and David, we've been talking back and forth, having great conversations, and we're finally here. Today's the day. We have the one, the only David Giarrizzo in the house.
Dude, appreciate you having me on. Like you said, we've been talking about it for a week or so now, and I'm excited to get things rolling.
Yeah, man, it's a pleasure to be here. I'm so glad you're on, and you're kickstarting this. And we've had some really good conversations. If you guys don't know David, he's from TagNBrag. He has a great story, and we're looking forward to revealing that to you guys today and diving into some other content. But to kick things off, David, you have a really unique story. But I was wondering, what got you involved in the outdoors overall?
Honestly, my brother Dean and I were lucky. My dad and my uncle got us involved into hunting at a really young age. I mean, I was probably 5 or 6 years old when I first started going out bow hunting with both of them. And I don't know what it was. Like, they were just diehard, like, wanted us to be immersed in the outdoors. My family, is passionate outdoorsmen, hunters, fishermen, and so they just immersed us into everything right off the bat. I mean, like I said, we were 5 and 6 years old. We were climbing up into a ladder stand with them, like literally sitting in between their feet while they were bow hunting. I mean, Dean and I were freezing, but like the experiences that we had at such a young age because of that it just hooked us. And
Yeah.
and then we started watching outdoor TV and outdoor videos, like the juries, like the Real Tree Monster bucks and everything. And it's just like we were so infatuated by it. But like I said, we're lucky because we had family members that got us involved in it at a young age.
Yeah, and I have a very similar upbringing that got me into the outdoors as well. I think we share that common ground there. And I just wanted to say before we start this, I thank you for doing what you do, following your dreams, inspiring so many people to do the same, and bringing so much original content to the outdoor industry. I think you guys have such a unique show and such a unique way of bringing content to your viewers, and you yourself, you bring so much enthusiasm to it and so much realness. And I think it's really missing from, the outdoor industry and the hunting space. And I think you do such a good job with that. I just wanted to, say thank you for that. And, congrats on all your accomplishments with TagNBrag.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. When Dean and I started TagNBrag, whatever, it's close to 10 years ago now. Like, one of the things that we promised ourselves was to never lose our authenticity. And honestly, it's been easy for us because we're so passionate about hunting and kind of everything that goes along with it, that the passion just kind of drives us. And so we I don't know, we appreciate those compliments and you recognizing that, because like I said, that's kind of been one of our core values since we started. And the cool part is, for me and I think for both of us, is like, we go back and watch some of our original videos, which are absolutely awful from like a production standpoint.
Yeah.
The footage is awful, out of focus. The music is horrible. The editing is like atrocious. But like, you feel that same authenticity and that same passion that we still have right now. And so, like, for me, like, that's one of my proudest thing about TagNBrag in general, is that we haven't lost that. So yeah, like I said, I can't thank you enough for that compliment, and we really appreciate you following along, and for everybody that follows along with us. I mean, it's allowed us to do what we do on a daily basis, and kind of pursue our dreams and passions, and try to inspire others to do the same thing.
Yeah, and I think that's really shown through your content and, the way you present yourself and what you guys are doing. But overall, what led you guys into creating TagNBrag? Like, what does that initial story look like for you guys? I mean, I've been kind of following along for a while now, and I've been so inspired by you guys. You're definitely one of my favorite content creators, honestly, in the industry. Like, I would much rather watch you guys than go on the outdoor channel, just because there's so much authenticity there with TagNBrag, and you really just show that different aspect that I think is missing from TV production. But like I said, I've been following you guys for some time now, but what is that initial, what came about? Like, this is the idea that I know you and your brother had. Like, where does that start for you guys? And you've obviously grown so much.
Yeah, no, honestly, like for Dean and I, at a young age, for whatever reason, we always had a camera in our hand, and not to say that we like really knew how to use it.
Yeah.
I mean, not being like that's just being 100% transparent. Like we really didn't. But we always filmed ourselves doing like goofy shit, like snowboarding and just different things that we like, day to day things that we like doing. And then we, I guess over time we kind of realized our passion for hunting, and we were just so like immersed into like the bow hunting scene specifically. So we started filming our hunts. But honestly, TagNBrag created or started because when Dean and I were in college, we were both at Ohio State. We were kind of brainstorming ideas of like how we could do our own thing. We've grown up in a family of entrepreneurs. It's been 4 generations of a family business in like the auto body field. And Dean and I both worked in that business. And as much as we like loved and appreciated that, we always wanted something for ourselves. And so we started TagNBrag as a social media site and trying to develop a phone app similar to Facebook and Instagram for hunting and fishing. So we wanted to give other people the opportunity to share their like outdoor life and outdoor story. And honestly, it's a crazy long roller coaster story, but it didn't work like at all. It didn't work. It burned a lot of our money. It burned a lot of like investment money. It burned a lot of time and energy for us.
Hmm.
And we never really, because we didn't code like the website or the phone app ourselves. So we didn't like fully have control of what we were doing. And in the meantime, though, we started a YouTube channel. We started filming our own hunts. We completely learned how to edit on our own from scratch, just doing our own research, watching YouTube videos, and just messing around with the software and stuff. And so our kind of goal was for like the TagNBrag website as a social media side to bring in the people. We would put our own content on there too and kind of grow a following, through the social media platform that we were creating. In the meantime, we could promote the social media platform through our own videos, and they could kind of both like snowball and grow together. And like I said, like from a development standpoint from the website and from the phone app, it just never went well. We went through 4 or 5 different developers. We had developers run away with our money and never finish projects. We had developers go to jail because of like different fraud things.
Wow.
The final draw, and like, I mean, there's really no joking about this, but like the final draw for Dean and I was we were working with this one developer because our previous developers had literally fired us. They said, like, you guys are never going to get this. We don't want to work with you anymore. Like, you're never going to understand like the development side of things. But anyway, we got our final developer we were working with, working on projects. It seemed to be going well. We were developing our phone app, which was cool. And we actually had a first version of it like live on the iTunes network. And we had people on it. We were getting feedback. And we had a meeting set up. I remember it was like a Thursday meeting set up with this developer, and I called him, no answer. Weird, because he was very punctual, very on time for everything. No answer in the morning, no answer in the afternoon, not answering text, calling him and Friday, nothing. And I'm like, this is weird. So Sunday I get a call from his dad, and his dad was like, David, I got some sad news. Like, Nikita passed away from a brain aneurysm. And the dude was 28 years old. Like, he was my age at the time. And like, Dean and I were looking at each other and we're like, maybe this is just not meant to be. Like, this is a path that we're not meant to be on. And so from that point forward, we scrapped the idea of like the social media site. And
So you scrapped everything right there.
Yeah, we literally, and you know, it was honestly hard to cut ties with it because we had
Right.
so much money, so much time invested into it, and we had like three different products that were in development. But number one, like it completely took us out of our element and out of our it was diminishing the passion for what we actually liked to do. Like hunting kind of became a chore at that point, and it like wasn't as fun anymore. And like you could tell in our videos that we were producing ourselves, like it like the mojo, the drive like wasn't
Mhm.
there. And I know from like Dean specifically, like he did not like, we would have cut ties with it like further along, or I should say like further in the past if it
Right.
was up to him, which probably would have been better for ourselves. But I, like me personally, like I always hung on to it because I'm like, we have so much time and money
Right.
invested.
You
Like,
just have to keep going.
yeah, we have to
Mhm.
keep going. But honestly, it was the best thing that ever happened to us during this journey because we found our niche, and we found like we ended up developing like more of the vlog style web show where like we're producing hundreds of episodes of content throughout the year rather than just, you know, during hunting season.
Right.
And so it opened us up into more of like broadcasting and documenting our outdoor lifestyle as a whole, which is 100% why we are here today. Like it's why we're here today. I think it's why you enjoy watching, you know, the Tag and Brag vlogs and the videos and stuff like that so much because, you know, the way we saw it was it's like we're producing all this content. We're spending so much time the video, the food plots, the preparation, the off-season work, and then the hunts. And number one, like we spent years screwing up hunts based on trying to film. But and so we were trying to like get like we put so much pressure on ourselves to like get a successful hunt under our belt in order to like put that one hunt out there to hope that like that was going to make us make it.
Yeah.
And in reality, like we're working so hard and filming all this stuff and we have all this footage and we're not using it, and we're like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, be more
Mhm.
efficient. Use like edit the stuff. Use it. So we're like, we both kind of sat down and we're like, well, if we're willing to like put in the time and effort to edit all this stuff, and it's going to be a lot of time and effort,
Yeah, and I know how much goes into that, trying to
you know,
film and
and
edit my own hunts. It's like it's a
it is
process, man.
and but now we've kind of developed like a system where like I do most of the editing, but and I've gotten very efficient with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we don't do any crazy like, you know, we don't we just don't do any crazy like effects or anything like that with our editing. It's pretty raw, but nonetheless, you kind of piece the story together. But I guess getting back to it, it allowed us to kind of find our niche, and we focused our energy on like, you know what? Instead of trying to put out the perfect content, we're gonna just put out more content than anybody in this hunting industry, you know, and we're gonna show people everything because that's gonna allow people to relate to us because we're not successful 95% of the time,
Right.
maybe 99% of the time. You know what I mean? But that's not necessarily like, I guess that one like moment of truth is what drives a lot of us as hunters, but it's not all of what we enjoy. And if it was the only thing that we enjoyed, you know, we probably wouldn't do it because the success comes, you know, few and far between.
Right. And I think that's what draws me and a lot of other of your viewers to you guys is that authenticity. And you show the process, you show the behind the scenes of what actually hunting is and how much work and time and effort goes into it, the failures, many failures, you know.
Yeah.
But you guys with turkey season, man, my heart goes out to you guys. I hope that you do bag a bird here soon, but I think that's what keeps us watching, and your content, it just like it stands out on its own pedestal compared to everything else. And I think that what you guys are doing needs to be seen more. And I
Yeah,
think
I
that's
agree.
that's the shift from the outdoor channel to more real content like you guys are doing.
For sure. And I mean, I think like when we started the more of like the vlog style episodes, like there was a huge the outdoor channel, sportsman's channel, like boom was still there. You know, it was like all about getting on TV and getting your own TV show. And so one of the, you know, it was kind of a sacrifice for us too to just say, let's invest our time online because we felt like that shift was coming, you know, like a majority of people were going to start shifting to taking in their content, whether it's outdoor or just whatever they like, they're going to take it in online. And for us, like, it's number one, we don't have any network restrictions. You know what I mean? Like, we can
Right.
say what we want. We can edit a video that's 6 minutes and put it out there. We can edit one that's 30 minutes and put it out there. You know, the restrictions and the guidelines are up to us, and it's free. Like, and like now with the companies that we're working with, what they're realizing is it's always there. So like we put out a video tomorrow, like in 10 years from now, unless we decide to delete it or take it down, it's always going to be there. It's always going to be collecting views.
Right.
And so the investment from like a money standpoint in that is a lot more powerful in my mind than dumping money into a commercial that's going to be on TV for a quarter or maybe 2 quarters, and then it's going to be gone, and you're going to have to re-up your money into that. Like the money that you invest into somebody like us right now, whether you reinvest in us next year or not, this content right now is always going to be there.
Right. And I agree. You know, something aside from the outdoors is I see so much value in owning online assets. And I think that's kind of the vision that you guys, you know, saw the value in having those online assets is once you have that video out there, it's there for
Right.
1, 10, 15 years. And anytime you get a view or anything, you know, that's generating more income and wealth and everything, you know, if you make it as successful as you guys. And, you know, I give you props for you guys realizing that model and doing everything that you do with TagNBrag.
Yeah, I mean, and like you said, it is an investment because like what people want stuff like right now. You know, they want to like, okay, I put a video out there, I killed this massive buck, like it should blow up into something, and I should be getting like free things sent my way or getting paid for this or whatever. But like, if you like starting a business or making like your hunting passion a business is a very deep and hard investment to make
Yeah.
because I mean what people don't realize, you know, who start watching us or start following us right now is we have almost 10 years invested into this. Like 10 years. We didn't start getting paid until 3 years ago. You know, like think about that. Like
Wow.
think about like the time that you put into it in order to try and make it like a career. And it's not only like a time and a money sacrifice, but you're sacrificing, you know, a social life at times. You're sacrificing, you know, relationships at times. And it's just like it's all for the greater good of like what you want and what you are passionate about and like the way that you feel your life is supposed to be because it's yours. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
like it is a sacrifice in one breath, but also it's an investment in another because you know you get to a certain point and now you can kind of control your own destiny. And there's something powerful about that too.
Yeah, I absolutely agree there. So what do you think the value is in doing something that you love? Like what is the value in following your dreams? I know you preach a
Honestly,
lot, like do what you love. You do, you know, a lot of your content's very inspirational. Do what you love, get out there, stay motivated, keep on the grind. Like you said, you guys have, you know, it took you up to 7 years to really gain that massive following and some success from Tag and Brag.
yeah, I mean, I think just the value in doing what you love is being able to control your own destiny and being able to like dictate pretty much 100% of your life because and I mean honestly like we like you said we've kind of sought out now to aside from the hunting side of things, obviously that's what we're passionate about, but like our main goal is to just inspire people to do more of what like that makes them tick, what they feel they're put on this earth to do, because that to me like inspires, or it kind of it just sparks happiness. And the more people are happy, the better we all are. And the more value you can add to whatever that thing is that makes you tick. Like if you and I are passionate about hunting, you know, and we're having this conversation right now, somebody else is passionate about the same thing. And so you can always, you know, inspire somebody else to do that, you know, to do that thing that you're inspired to do. But I just think, you know, we have one life to live, and so many people kind of sit back and they're like, you know, I wish I could do this. I wish I could be this. I wish I could go to a certain place, and you can. Like, it's all in your control. You just have to have the courage to go chase it, and don't expect things to happen overnight, because it's not like realistic, you know. But if you're willing to put the time in, if you're willing to like, you know, grind it out and like kind of like eat shit for a little while to get to that point, like the rewards at the end of it for like the longevity of your life, I feel like are all worth it. But nothing good comes without sacrifice. It just doesn't. Like, you can't get to a place where like you feel like you're 100% authentically you, and you're 100% like happy without sacrifice in order to get there. So I mean, that's the biggest thing I think that people get hung up on, is they want something for nothing in return of their, you know, their time and their efforts. And that's just, it's not realistic.
Right. And you have to expect failures along the journey as well, with the sacrifice of time and work. You know,
Oh,
those are the essential pieces of putting that into something, of creating your own business or following your destiny, your dreams, you know. But is there any
100%. I
time
mean,
that you guys came across with TagNBrag that you were like, man, like, you know, I don't know, like this might not happen, you know?
dude, it's honestly, it all the time. Like, you have to check yourself all the time. I mean, we went through a couple scenarios with like our development and stuff like that we questioned, you know, why are we doing this? What are we doing it for? I mean, quite honestly, there's still times, you know, recently where I say like, you know, what is this for? And we're like doing it, you know what I mean? Like, we're there. I mean,
Yeah.
we're there to an extent. We're nowhere, I don't think, to where we want to be or we aspire to be, but you know, we're to the point where, like, from a business standpoint, we're bringing in revenue, we're making money, and we're allowing ourselves, we're allowing this to like kind of transpire on its own. But like, I mean, there's been plenty of times along the way where Dean and I have had conversations, not only like looking in the mirror and asking yourself, like, what are we doing this for? But like, Dean and I have had conversations of like, what are we doing this for? You know what I mean? Like, what are we doing this for? And it's funny because I was having this conversation with somebody yesterday, but it seems like when you get to that point, if you're meant to do like that certain thing, like with us for TagNBrag, like if this is meant to be, like right when you get to that breaking point, something comes up to remind you like you're here for a reason.
Right.
Always happens. It's happened every single time. And like, you can't expect it, because you can't expect that. But at the same time, whether it's somebody reaching out from like a direct message or a message on Facebook or whatever that just says literally like, thank you guys for doing what you're doing. You know, you've inspired me to do this, and this, or whether it's a company that comes knocking on your door and says like, I want to work with you guys because we love your content. Whatever the case is, like, it always seems like when you're right at that breaking point, if it's meant to be, like something clicks and gives you that next like jolt of energy to just like keep going. But you literally have to fall in love and love the fact of failure. if you're going to like do this, and if you're going to be mentally strong enough to do something that you love and kind of create it into more of a like career and something that you want to be like your livelihood. Like you literally have to fall in love with failing, because it's going to happen. Like it's just going to happen, and you have to let it motivate you to the next level, to your next kind of step. Like I remember one of the biggest like failures, I guess, from our standpoint, or I guess one of the biggest reality checks, was right at the end of when we were getting done with developing our phone app and our website. And we were really trying hard to get involved and work with Matthews. And it was a stretch for us, because like we were still little boys, I guess, in my mind at that point, in the hunting industry. And we're still not like,
Yeah.
I don't put ourselves ahead or behind anyone. Like we're all on a level playing field. But I was talking to Brad Christian, who works for Sitka now, and he was the marketing director at the time, and he straight up said, like, you guys don't have what we're looking for right now. Like legit, like was just like, no, like, and most of the other people that we dealt with were like, oh, we don't have a budget for this, or our marketing budgets, they gave you kind of some BS, like, sidetrack excuse of like why you couldn't work together. But he was straight up like, no, y'all aren't ready. Like you don't have, like, you're not good enough yet. And I was like, I got off the call and I was like, damn, that hurt. That hurt.
Yeah.
Like I'm not gonna lie, like that hurt, because we've been working for like 5-6 years at that point on like what we're doing, and like, but at the same time, for Dean and I both, we were like screw you, we're not good enough. Like we'll show you we're good enough. And 2 years after that, like we reach out to Matthews again on a whim, and they're like, yeah, we want to work with you guys, and now we've been working together for the past 3 years.
Wow.
So it's like, I mean, it's stories like that, or like experiences like that kind of give me chills, because like you have to embrace that failure, because it's happening for a reason. And that conversation that we had with Brad at that point leveled us up. It said, no, you're like, what you're doing right now is not good enough for where you want to be. So give more, like work harder. And
Right.
we did. And now like I said, we've been working with Matthews, which, is obviously one of the best bow companies in the world. And they have been for a long, long time. And I mean, we're proud of that fact, because we didn't let it discourage us long enough. Obviously, like I said, it hurt in the beginning, but we didn't let it discourage us long enough to not say, no, we're going to keep going, and we're going to go harder.
Right. Wow. What a turnaround in 2 years. And that just shows you, if you put the time in and the effort and the passion behind it, it will happen. But looking back now, do you think you guys were ready for that deal, that moment when you were 5 years in, or do you think you needed that to, get where you are today?
Oh, we were not ready at all. We were not ready at all for that. And that's the funny part, and the kind of cool part about, why, getting back to it, it's like you have to embrace those failures, because, the big man upstairs knows, when you're ready or not, and he's got a path for you. And it's like, we weren't ready. We just weren't. We wouldn't have represented them how they are meant to be represented. And when we were ready, the opportunity came back to us, which is a cool part, because it was like, just keep going, and eventually it'll happen. Just because it's a no now doesn't mean it has to be a no forever.
Yeah, I absolutely agree there. Now, what is the future outlook for you guys? Now, you're at this point where you are now. You've had some deals, you've had some success from, starting from the ground up. What is your future vision for TagNBrag, and where do you see yourself going?
Well, it's cool, because we've now like developed our production company, or like the production side of our business, into working with companies outside of the hunting industry too. So we're basically kind of taking the knowledge that we've learned, ourselves, and kind of applying that to other businesses and other companies. And we're actually helping market other businesses similar to how we marketed ourselves and grew our own brand, and seeing results in different industries from that, which is cool. But from like TagNBrag, it's, itself from like a hunting perspective, I think we want to keep like, we obviously want to keep this vlog style, these vlog style episodes going, because I think that's what keeps us authentic. It's what keeps us true to ourselves. But I think what we want to do is just expand our adventure and do things that we've never done before, and be able to document that and show people along the way. I mean, one of the things that we really want to do, and we're trying to work on for this year, is get into like the Western style hunting, whether that's mule deer, elk, whatever, just get into different species of hunting that we've never had the chance to chase before, and put our knowledge and our hunting knowledge to the test, along with documenting that, so that people can see, that people can kind of follow us along the way. Like, that's the most exciting part for us, is bringing people along our journey. And obviously, it's cool because I think we kind of have the best of both worlds, where we have like our land up in New York, where we're working hard at managing deer and planting food plots, and kind of obtaining more acreage to expand our reach a little bit bigger from like a deer and land management standpoint up there. So we can give back to the land a little bit more up there, and just I guess work that side of things. But then, like, we go to North Dakota or Tennessee, or we travel a little bit, and our skills are kind of put to the test on like a timing level, where you're on a trip for whatever 7 or 8 days, and it's like you got to figure out the deer and the land and where they're at, and try and get it done in a short amount of time without the resources that you've built all year long on your homeland. You know what I mean? So I just think, kind of expanding our adventure and expanding our reach that way is going to be fun to pursue, and it's going to be just kind of a fun journey over the next however many years.
Yeah, I'm excited for that journey for you guys to really dive into that, because that's something myself that I've been wanting to do and try new things,
Yeah.
like you said, get outside of hunting my own homeland. And I really want to go explore out west, try to do like an elk or a mule deer hunt. And seeing you guys do what you do with going out to, Tennessee and those other states, and getting it done with, a few days, and not really having any time put into that. You go out there, hang a stand, hang some cameras, and then, you and your brother both found success in some of the hunts that I've seen doing that. And it was just so inspirational seeing that story, seeing you guys do that kind of thing.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. It's just, and I thrive off of that, like, adventure. There's obviously, like, with trail cameras, and there's a major like fad within the hunting industry, at least the whitetail side, of like managing the deer and growing bigger deer. And I'm extremely interested in that. But I'm like, so much of what I think sparked our interest in hunting in general when we were young was the unknown factor. Like, the unknown factor of, like, you don't know, you could hear the leaves crunching, and you hear what's coming at you prior to seeing it, and you have no idea what it could be, or what's making those noises, what's in the woods that you're hunting with you. And so, like, that portion of it, like, kind of going out on that adventurous side and creating that unknown factor, like, I'm extremely passionate about, because it really, like, for me, it gets me back to like the roots of why we started and what got us so passionate about it in general.
Now, what is that? What got you started? What is that underlying burning fire that keeps pushing you guys forward doing what you do? Is it the love for the outdoors, or is it what hunting brings to your life? Can you elaborate a
Yeah,
little bit on that?
yeah, I think it's a little bit of both, honestly. Like, the outdoors in general, it's funny. I just took a leadership course that made me realize even more how much the outdoors mean to me, and how much like I need to daily need to get outside, and whatever it is, I could be doing work outside. It could be bringing my laptop or something outside and just working from a porch somewhere, but taking in the fresh air and just being outside is extremely important to me, and it's a major part of who I am. So I think that's a major portion of it. And then it's just honestly, it's the chase of something. You know what I mean? It's the chase of something. Hunting is such a raw, and I don't know, it just goes back to our roots as human beings in general.
Right.
And it's a natural thing. People view it as oh, killing, you're killing animals and you're taking a life. And yeah, and I think what a lot of those people that are quick to pass judgment on hunters don't realize is I feel remorse when I shoot a deer or or a turkey.
Absolutely.
Or I feel remorse for that life. I value life in general, and I think that's what hunting's done for me is it's even heightened the value of a life even more. Don't think that I don't respect that animal and that I don't have remorse when you take that animal's life, because you absolutely do. But I think it's that chase and the overall continual challenge that hunting brings to all of us, because every year is different. Every year proposes a new challenge. You're always trying to sharpen up your skills, and just learning how the animals work and react and live on a daily basis, I think to me is infatuating. Their main focus daily is to survive.
Right.
It's not like us, oh, we got to get home for our favorite TV show tonight, or we're worried about making money and we're worried about getting to work on time the next day, where there's so many different sensory stressors and stuff like that are in our environment. They're literally worried about living every single day, stay alive.
And the harsh reality is nature is a brutal beast, but it also is a beautiful thing. And what blows
Exactly.
my mind is, and one of the reasons I want to start this podcast is to inspire people to get involved in the outdoors, because just think about how many people don't have that outdoors experience. I think you should at least go hunting once and experience it. Like you said,
Right.
it's really coming back to the roots of humankind. This is, it's one of the oldest sports alive. We've been doing this since the time of man. And being involved in hunting and just getting out there and experiencing those experiences, it's just unbelievable. You'll never get that anywhere else. The hardships, the beauty, seeing nature just out in its natural element is just something to be said. I was on a turkey hunt the other day, and it hit me. I was cresting this mountain. The sun was rising, and didn't hear a single turkey all day. And one finally fired up in the far distance, and that was the only gobble I heard all day. And to me, that completed my hunt. I literally hiked 4 or 5 miles to get to that point where I was. It's just time stopped for a minute, and I just looked around. And, the things that I saw that morning, the mist, the fog, everything coming off the trees, the birds, it's time stopped for that 1 second, and you realize hunting brings you closer to the earth, and it brings you it makes you more appreciative for what the earth offers,
Oh, 100%. And it's, where people get so immersed in social media now, and kind of comparing themselves. And I'm thankful for social media and technology, because it's allowed us to grow our business. It's allowed us to grow our brand and create a name for ourselves. At the same time, I'm thankful for hunting, because that's kind of been the avenue of like you said, grounding yourself and connecting yourself with Mother Nature and the earth, and respecting what's around us. Because I feel a lot of I think a lot of the younger generation, especially, who didn't grow up outside. And I mean, when I was growing up, I was outside playing kickball, baseball. When I got home from school, I did my homework so that I could get out of the house and go outside until it was dark. Like that's just, you know, play with the neighbor kids and stuff. And that's just how it was. And I feel like, you know, that's kind of lost in the technology now. And obviously everything evolves for a reason and whatnot. But I think, yeah, there's a very strong need for that connection back to like the earth and like, you know,
I
respecting the
absolutely
things
agree.
around you and being aware of it too, you know, like being aware of the values of all that stuff, of like you said, being like waking up with the world, you know, seeing the sunrise and hearing, like literally hearing the
The earth wake up. It's like
earth
it's
and
something
birds and
that
stuff around you. Yeah.
you can't put into words when you know what it's like.
Yeah.
You know what, just think about how many people don't have that experience. When
Right.
you're sitting in the tree stand in the pitch dark, it's 4 o'clock in the morning, and you just hiked a few miles back into your set, and you're just waiting for the wake up of the earth. It's like
Right.
there's this time in between that's like 5 minutes, and boom, you hear the first bird chirp,
Right.
and then everything around you just awakens. It's like an
Right.
experience that you can't describe. You just have to do it. And that's why I really think that, if more people would have that one experience or go hunting once, you don't have to kill anything. It's not about the kill. That's where the remorse comes in. And, it's the experiences that lead up to the kill that make us fall in love with hunting. And I think if you haven't tried it, just go out, tag along with someone, and
Right.
just get that experience under your belt, because it's just something that you can't describe, and it will bring you more grounded to this world.
Well, exactly. And I think like part of the reason why, you know, we've kind of opened our doors or our lives to show more of our lifestyle is to try and help bring more people into that. Because a lot of like I feel like what's happened is like there's like such a shift of like, you know, the big buck, you know, the biggest animal and measuring the animal and, you know, having the biggest and the best or pursuing the biggest and the best. And while I'm, you know, I kind of I you have your own personal goals to like, you know, maybe shoot something a little bigger than you did last year, pursue something a little bigger than you did last year. That's not how that's not how we were raised up into this sport, you know? And so by showing the ins and outs and the failures of what we're doing, like hopefully we can inspire somebody else to, you know, to go along with their dad or to go along with their uncle, or, you know, we can inspire somebody else to say, hey, grab a buddy or something and come
Just
along with
go.
me. Yeah, come
Yeah.
along with me. Like you said, you don't have to kill anything to enjoy hunting. Like that's not the end all be all. And I think if more people did, like, were able to experience it, they would understand what we
Right.
all go through and why we're all so passionate about this, because it's like it's really not all about that one moment of truth. It's what we strive for and what we're like work and chasing, but that chase is ultimately why we do it. You know, if you can't enjoy like the portion of where you're trying to pursue, you know, that's and you're only out there to kill, then I think you're missing a major aspect of hunting in general.
I agree there. And if you are like that, I think you just next time you're out in the woods, just stop. But just stop
Right.
for a minute and just, let it sink in. Just, put your phone down for a minute. A lot of times we're on our phones and stuff. I like to take pictures of, nature when I'm out on the hunt and kind of share that experience with other people to show, that light of things. But just let that sink in for a minute and look around it, and you'll be like, wow, I was really missing out on this key aspect of hunting. Another part of hunting that I think, maybe once you do experience that, is the reward is how good the meat is that you actually are eating
Yeah.
of the animal that you harvest. And that's why I really want to go out west and start, taking, into elk hunting and stuff. But the
Sure.
meat that you're getting, where it's coming from, it's pure, and you just feel your body just thanks you for eating something like that. You know,
Right.
it's just like something about it. It just
Well,
feels more natural.
yeah, and there's a different level of like providing that you feel when you're doing it. You know, when you're consuming something that you literally took from your hard work to pursuing it to actually killing that animal. Now you're taking care and processing that animal, and you're putting it on your plate, or you're providing for your family or your friends, whoever you're is taking it in with you. Like, there's a certain level of like providing that is, I don't know, you feel that way, and it's like you can't feel that by going to buy somebody dinner or what. Like, that's
Right.
not the same. It's just not the same. You know what I mean?
The whole process from field to table is something else in its own that most people don't experience. And even a lot of hunters, like from where we're from, eastern half of the United States, well, the northeastern, they hunt deer, they shoot a deer on the first day of rifle season. They take it to a butcher and they get it made. But you're also missing out on the whole process of being connected to that harvest and that animal. Like, we butcher our own deer, we clean our own meat, we pack it, we ziplock it, we seal it, vacuum seal it, put it in the freezer, and then we prepare it, for a good dinner, a good feast with friends and family. But
For sure.
I don't know about you guys, what you guys do with your deer, but that's something, a common trend that I noticed that a lot of people are missing in hunting as well.
Yeah, for sure. Because there's just, you just, a lot of people think that portion of it is like gross and stuff, and like, oh my God, like blood and this and that, whatever. But it's just like, it goes into the respect factor of that animal, and kind of like the respect factor for that life that you took in general. And so being able to take it from, literally field to freezer by yourself is there's a certain level of pride that's connected to that. And just learning those skills in general, you know what I mean? I mean, that's like, that goes back to even more like bare bones of like human beings and being able to provide for yourself. What if all this technology and money and everything went away? What would you be able to do? Would you be able to survive or not?
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's like as bare bones as it gets. So, I mean, yeah, like I said, there's a certain level of pride that I think is connected to that. And yeah, I mean, it makes you feel good when you can provide something like that. And
And
that,
what's
and knowing that you've put all the work in to get there.
And what's funny about it, I think me and you talked about this maybe once when we were on the phone a few weeks back, but when the coronavirus came, we're still dealing with this virus, and the world went into panic mode. And us outdoorsmen that know those skills and those traits, like, we were like, our lives didn't really change much because our passions, what we like to do, is outdoors. So we're still able to do those things. But the idea of knowing that our freezers are full of
Yeah.
venison that we harvested, and if needed, we know how to go and get those resources to provide for our families to continue to thrive during a pandemic.
Right. Oh, for 100%. I mean, yeah, everybody panicked and was going to the stores and buying meats and toilet paper and stuff like that. I'm like, we're good. We're good right now. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
good. There's still 4 or 5 of them stacked in the freezer. Like, you guys want to come over and eat? You can.
yeah, we're good. We got about 4 months worth.
Yeah, exactly. We're gonna time it up perfect, just in time to get to September and whack another one, and have some fresh meat for the freezer.
Right, right. So you guys obviously have a lot of success. Your freezers are full of meat. What do you do to find success in the woods, and what do you do to find success with TagNBrag? Like, I'm very curious about that aspect, and I'd really like to share that with our viewers, because
Yeah, I mean, success is kind of a relative term. I think ultimately success is happiness in yourself and what you're doing. And for as far as like success in the woods, I don't measure that by the trophies that I can put on the wall or whatever, like, anymore. And it kind of correlates to TagNBrag. Like, I want to bring people along and share my experiences so that hopefully it inspires somebody else. And
Mhm.
and I mean that like wholeheartedly. I mean, like you said earlier, our turkey season has been far from successful in many people's eyes. Most people that are even trying to film or document their turkey season that would be like ours, they wouldn't be willing to put out that content. But the fact that we've taken people along the journey with us, not really even seeing many turkeys, let alone killing one. Like, I mean, I'm proud of that, and I feel like that's successful. You know, we've been able, or we've had the courage and the confidence to keep our content going without the success that many people deem within like the hunting industry. You know what I mean?
Right.
We don't have the trophy pictures to prove to show our successes. You know, if we were showing our successes off of trophy pictures, we wouldn't be successful in a lot of people's eyes. But like I said, the fact that we've, you know, been able to bring people along with us is the biggest success to me, because, you know, people like yourselves and other people that have come to us and said thank you, that means the most. Honestly, like, that means the most, because I feel like we're doing our little part in spreading the values of hunting, and hopefully that, you know, if it catches on with one person,
Yeah.
and they go out and experience it too, we've created success within that. You know what I mean?
And I think that's the definition of a successful hunt, is what we just talked about. The experiences that lead up to interacting with that animal or whatever it might be that you're targeting, or just being out there, you know, brings you success in the long run. And that's what the hunt is all about.
No, 100%. I mean, and personally, you know, I set goals for myself. Dean set goals for himself from like a hunting standpoint and standard. And, you know, sometimes those are reached and sometimes those aren't. I mean, last year in particular in New York, you know, we set a certain standard for ourselves, and neither of us shot bucks in New York. Was that a failure, or was that a success where we passed up deer that we would have shot for sure in years past, but we let those deer go, and they're still living today in order for us to create that success, you know, this upcoming year. So you can call last year a failure all you want, but to me, it was a success because we had the discipline in order to, you know, stick to our goals and follow. You know, if it wasn't going to be a certain standard, we weren't going to take that life, because we want to preserve and you know, make things bigger up there. And so, you know, in that aspect of things, we were, in my eyes, we were successful, and we took people along that journey with us, which makes it even more successful.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So, and you
So
inspired many people to get outdoors and get involved and, you know, follow their dreams and get, you know, to me, that's what you guys do. So it's just like everything I see, I'm like, these guys are doing it. They're so successful because you're hitting all these elements of success to get people inspired, motivated, and you're also hitting milestones for yourself with TagNBrag.
yeah, no, I mean, it's you like I said, success is kind of a relative term, and it's kind of what you make of it. But ultimately, I view success as your own happiness and your own, you know, happiness with your own self-worth. And I think that's major, like, very important, and your value of like your own life, because so many people go through this life and they're not happy with themselves. They're not happy with what they're doing, but they don't change it either, you know? And so it's like,
a lot of people get stuck in that limbo of unhappiness, and, you know, and
they accept it.
They accept it. You can't accept it. You have to keep trying new things, keep going, you know? And I think what you guys do, it just like your content brings happiness to so many people, brings light, brings joy to watching you guys do what you do, but also to the entrepreneur, you know, the motivation to go get out of that unhappiness and really pursue something that you love. So thank you so much for keep doing that, guys, you know? And that's why I really wanted to bring you guys on, well, yourself on, then I'll have your brother on, but to share the inspiration of TagNBrag with, you know, the outdoor community.
For sure. And I mean, we've said it all along, you know, if hunting isn't your thing, like, figure out what is and do it. Like, do more of it. It doesn't mean you have to get paid for doing it, but you're going to be a better person for doing more of what you love to do and what lights your fire, what you're passionate about. So go do it. Like, don't make excuses for yourself why you can't. You can. Just go. go
Mhm.
do it.
Just go do it. And I
Yeah.
agree there. Now, with like you know, you're always like preaching that stuff, but do you have like a morning routine? What do you have anything that brings you, you know, to that path of like that better, that happiness, that motivation to get up every day? Do you take anything? You know, what's that look like for you?
Well, so I mean, my morning routine is I usually just get up. I got to get my coffee in my system. You know, I try and like sit back for at least 10 or 15 minutes and just kind of like map out what my day should look like. And I
Mhm.
usually, I got a list of like kind of tasks daily that I redo try to redo every single night before I go to bed because it allows me my mind to shut down and sleep. I think sleep is very important. You know, there's certain times where we're running and gunning, and yeah, you got to just go with the lack of sleep. But I think for your overall mental well-being, like sleep is extremely important. But um, my morning routine, I get up, I have some coffee, usually try and make a little breakfast, and I typically like I like to edit our TagNBrag vlogs like the first thing in the morning for whatever reason because I feel like I'm the most efficient at doing that, that way. Then once the day gets started, maybe it's calls or emails or we're dealing with,
Mhm.
some of our other clients outside of the hunting industry. And so it gets cluttered a little bit. And so I like to like knock out any of our TagNBrag vlogs if we have them available, like first thing in the morning, get them out. For whatever reason, that makes me feel good about myself, and good about just like getting that task out of the way. But I've been taking this, CBG hemp oil. It's like a
Yeah.
natural hemp oil extract, and I take two different ones. One's a focus one, which I'll take so I'll drink coffee in the morning, like a cup or a cup and a half of coffee in the morning, and then I'll usually take my focus one like right before lunch. And it like helps. Like you don't feel different. Like there's no THC in it or anything, but it's just a natural like hemp extract. And I've done a lot of research on it. I've researched the company um and it helps me like just stay in the lane because there's a lot of different noises going on here
Yeah.
or so it just like kind of helps me focus on like what I'm doing in that moment. And then I take one that's called why am I trying to calm? I take one that's called calm. Like I'll take it, after dinner or something, and it just kind of like just
Really.
put your body a little bit at ease, and it just like it relaxes, it helps with anxiety, puts you in a little state of like serenity and just at peace. And so I've been doing that for the last like month and a half or so, and I really like I feel I feel better. I feel like I'm more productive. I feel like I'm getting better sleep, which allows me to like wake up and just get after it in the morning. I'm not like groggy for the first couple hours of the day because I had a restless sleep or whatever.
Mhm.
So a major that's been a change for me over the last like couple months or so, and it's helped a ton because like I said, there's so many different things going on, and I'm the type of person where like I can take on a lot of tasks. Like I really can. Like I pride myself on being reliable and being able to juggle a lot of things at once.
Mhm.
But like, when you're working on one thing, like it needs that focused attention, so you got to be able to like tune yourself into like whatever that one thing you're working on, maybe give it an hour or two per day to work on it. And then, delegate your tasks to something else. And this focus hemp oil or CBG oil has helped me out a lot with that. Just staying in one lane and staying focused for that time period, and then kind of moving on, to the next thing.
Wow. I'll have to look into that. You'll have to send that
Yeah,
over
yeah.
my way. Yeah.
I'll send you a link because it's actually like there's kind of a business portion of it too. I say pyramid scheme, but it's more of like a network. It's more of like a network marketing thing.
Yeah.
So it's actually the call that I have after this is a small group of guys that like are in the same, it's called Prime My Body, and they're in the same network, but we've kind of formed our own group, and we take an hour out of each week, and we literally, all of them are entrepreneurs. They're, you know, they have their own businesses. And so we're all kind of like similar ages, so we have like different things going on, or similar things going on from like a life perspective, and kind of pursuing our own passions, but also just from like being, you know, mid-20s to lower 30s, and just kind of handling life as we know it. So we literally take an hour each week, and we get on a call, and we just bullshit about, like business,
What you're
about
doing.
different ideas. We brainstorm different ideas about what we're doing, and just kind of talk about life in general. And so from that aspect of it, like, it's helped me. Like, I haven't made really much money from it, but like the market or the networking portion of it has helped me a ton, because it's like I'm talking to people that I can relate to and that can relate to me.
Similar
You know,
minded.
yeah, I got a lot of friends that are married with kids and stuff like that, and it's like I didn't choose that path. So, you know, it's harder to relate at times, you know, to people that are around me a lot. But this has kind of given me that, you know, that avenue, and it's helped out a lot. And obviously, you know, we welcome anyone and everyone that wants to like try this stuff out, or that wants to join like this network marketing team because I think it's, you know, it's kind of an investment, but I think it's going to be very powerful in the coming years for sure.
Wow, that sounds awesome. And I think maybe, you know, a lot of people are missing something like that from their lives. So I give you props for, you know, getting involved into a group like that. Just surrounding yourself with similar minded people can be so powerful to help you level up and get to the next level of your journey of life and your career and everything. So, um,
Oh, 100%.
I'll definitely, if you send me those links over, I'll put them in the description to our video here on YouTube. So if
Cool.
anybody
Cool.
wants to check those out, they can go ahead and, you know, get involved
Yeah.
and try those supplements to see if it will
Yeah.
help improve their lives.
Yeah. And I'll send you like the link to like my personal link for that. So like, obviously then you can get in touch with me or whatever. And if you want to get involved, obviously I'm more than willing to help you out to get started.
Yeah, awesome. I'll make sure I put that in the description.
Cool.
So, you know, I know you have that call coming up. We're winding down here on today's show. I think today's show was really something. It was really special. We really covered a lot of great topics, and I hope a lot of people get inspired by that, motivated by, you know, your wisdom and your journey and everything that you brought to the table today. But we're at the point that it's called Pass It On. I got inspired by this song. I don't know if you ever heard it. It's the Mossy Oak song. If not, I'll send it over to you. I'm
Yeah.
sure it'll bring a tear to your eye, because when I was like 7 years old hunting with my dad and stuff, we've discovered the song, and it's kind of been like that thing. It's all about passing it on to the next generation about everything the outdoors has to offer. So it's your last day to hunt. You know, I know you're a big hunter, so it's your last hunting day of your career, of your life. It's time for you to pass it on. You have to put the bow down, the gun down, the bullets, the mounts have to go. You know, you can keep maybe a few pictures, but it's time you pass everything on to the next generation. What is the one lesson that the outdoors has taught you that you want to pass on? And what is the one lesson that life has taught you that you also want to pass on to those people?
Man, that's deep. I think honestly, like the outdoors, because I'm a very like type A person, high strung. I like to get things done. I just like to go, go, go. The one of the biggest things that the outdoors has taught me, or hunting has taught me, is patience. You know, is patience in the pursuit of anything. You know, because it's, you know, so many people want that instant gratification of anything and everything that they're pursuing, you know. And I think social media has had a lot to do with that, especially with, you know, the our generations and the ones below us. And so the patience in your pursuit of whatever it is you're pursuing, because it's as we kind of talked about earlier in the podcast, you have to fall in love with failure And that's part of the hunting. That's part of hunting, right? You know, like it's not all going to be successful. That's a very natural thing. So I think from a hunting standpoint, it would be the patience in the pursuit of whatever you're pursuing. And from a life standpoint, I think, happiness, finding your happiness. And like, I think that's the most important thing. I think your mental health and your mental well-being is what makes you strong as a person. You know, physical strength can come and can go, but mental strength is your power. And so I think when you can find your true happiness in what you're doing, you make the people around you better, and that only makes the world a better place. So that would be my thing, is like, your pursuit of happiness, and just finding, knowing, being self-aware enough to knowing, what makes you truly happy, and going after it. Because like I said, it's only going to make you stronger, and that's going to make the people around you stronger.
Wow, that was really something, man. Thank you. I can't wait for our viewers to hear those two lessons, and hopefully take that and improve their lives, and maybe go try the outdoors, and take those words into really think about what they're doing in their life, and hopefully level up and continue to improve themselves. But before we end the show, something that we missed that I wanted to talk about, that we kind of talked about before we had all of our technical difficulties, was you shooting the bow in the basement. What is the one shot? Everybody knows the rules. If you haven't seen this, you have to go follow this guy on Instagram, and it's caught on. I've seen so many people I follow, and you'll repost it, be like, yep, one shot, everybody knows the rules, here we go, all right. And then you shoot an arrow. Can you elaborate a little bit on that for our audience that doesn't know what you're doing down there in the basement of your office?
Yeah, no. So I mean, for probably 4 or 5 years, we built TagNBrag in my dad's basement. And when my parents built the house like 20 years ago, one of my dad's only things that he requested in the house when designing it was an archery lane in the basement. Well, that archery lane turned into the TagNBrag headquarters when we all started. And so, I would just be down there, and it's nice because, you can shoot at any time of the day, night, whatever. And shooting a bow to me brings me like a release, or just, even one arrow, like just releasing one arrow, brings me like, just grounds me a little bit. So I just would, like, before I would go to bed at night, I would knock an arrow, and I would just film it on my phone on Instagram. One shot, everybody knows the rules. But my thing, I would always end up shooting like 3 or 4 arrows.
Yeah, every time.
My first arrow would never be right. It would never be right. But I think it's like, it kind of, like, for me, it kind of relates back to like hunting, is like, okay, you have one shot. As a bow hunter, it's not like you get a redo, or most of the time, at least,
Yeah.
You don't get a redo. So like, that one shot has to be so focused and so, like, I don't know, determined, energized, like your whole being has to be immersed into that one shot. And so it was obviously kind of a funny thing, because I never took only one shot, because I was trying to perfect something before I went to bed. But, at the same time, I guess my message was like, one shot, everybody knows the rules. That's kind of, it just relates to bow hunting, and that whole moment of truth, and kind of getting in that mindset of like, okay, if you did have one shot, or if you had, life, we've got one shot at this life, like, make the most of that one single solo opportunity. If somebody put you on a pedestal somewhere and said, this is your opportunity, like, you have to capitalize on this right now, and you get everything that you've ever dreamed about. Like, what kind of focus would you have? This is it.
Right. And what kind of perfection do you want to have? So I think when you keep shooting, you're like, yeah, I want that one shot to be just a little bit more perfect, and
exactly. So it's been fun. It's been funny. And we were talking a little bit about it before the podcast started, but when I lived in Nashville after college, like, the one shot thing wasn't created yet, but I was still like, I had that mindset. And
Yeah.
so like, I was going to shoot my bow wherever I could. It was literally 10 yards from like the back of my bedroom, down the hallway, past the kitchen to the front door. And I would shoot in my apartment. Like my dog would I'd make him lay on my bed so he wasn't in front of me, and I would shoot in my apartment. And I mean, it ended up like I ended up beating up the target so much that like I started puncturing the little holes in the door and stuff. I ended up owing the apartment complex $500
No
for
shit.
the door at the end of my lease. But it was just like, you know, I laughed about it because I'm like, yeah, like anybody knows about this would think that I'm absolutely nuts, but it's just me like doing what I love to do. That nothing's gonna stop me doing what I love to do. So
wow, that's too good. That's too funny. And I think that's a great way for us to end here. And thank you for that last little bit of motivational piece that you gave about, you know, the one shot, because I really do think that that hones into what I'm doing, what everyone else is doing in their lives. And you have that one shot, make sure, you know, you take it, and you take it with, you know, full effort and pureness. And, you know, you want to try to perfect that as much as possible. But David, thank you so much for coming on the show, man. I appreciate it. It has been a great one. Make sure you go check these guys out on all their social media platforms. What is it, at TagNBrag? Or
so on YouTube and Instagram, it's at Team TagNBrag, and then on Facebook, it's just at TagNBrag.
yeah, make sure you go over, give those guys a follow. They deserve it. And I'm telling you, they have the best content, hunting content in the outdoor industry. And if you're trying to get involved in the food plots, or, you know, trying to manage your herd of deer, whatever you're doing, David, he created Food Plot Chronicles. He has a great jingle to it. It's a great series. Make sure you check that out as well. Give them a follow. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast here, wherever you're listening. And we thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate every one of the audience for tuning in. I appreciate David for coming on and sharing your wisdom. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having me on. It was an awesome conversation, and definitely an inspiring way to start my morning for sure.
Yeah, dude, I'm glad that we got to do this, and I'm looking forward to having you back on. And there's so many different things that me and you mesh with that we can talk about. So I'll make sure you come back on, and we'll dive into some other topics. So thank you so much, man. Appreciate it. And we'll catch you later.
Yeah.